Welcome to the Daily Dish with New York Times bestselling author Leanne Ely. Putting vibrancy back into your everyday life and feeding your heart, mind, body, and soul. Join us every day at 1 p.m. Eastern for Motivational Monday, Tuesday's Tip, Wise Woman's Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, Food Fight Friday, and of course Q&A, where no question is off limits, and Soulful Saturday. Here is your host, Leanne Ely, and the Daily Dish.
It's time! Hello. It's Soulful Saturday. You know what Soulful Saturday is, don't you? It is the wrap up of the week. Good to see you, Amber and Jenny, of course, in the house. Jackie's here. Angie's here. It's going to be a good day. I can tell. It's really going to be a good day. And, I'm just back from walking the Lincoln Project. Took them out for a great big walk. You know what? It is interesting being a parent of a dog, if you want to say that. Anyway, we've had some regression with some pooping inside the house and what have you. So it's been really, we're kind of circling wagons, shall we say, and trying to get things back on schedule. So anyway, Butterfly. We have somebody named Butterfly. I love it. Nice to see you. Joanne, I'm glad you're here, and Tanya as well. It's going to be a good day. I'm ready for this. Look at Wanda. She's hot melt 30ing. So's Betsy. So is Tanya. So's Kathy. I'm so glad you're here and she gets to watch live. I'm so glad. That's going to be fun. Anyway, lots on the agenda here today because, we've talked about fear all week. And today we're basically going to wrap the whole thing up. We're going to tie a big ribbon around it and wrap it up. And I think you're going to like where we're going with all of this. I saw something that just made me think, wait a second. And it was our quote of the week, which I'm going to be sharing with you in context with all of this, because the quote of the week just made me say, wait a minute, hold the phone. There's something here. There's something to be said on this. Hey, Vicki, Martha, I'm so glad you're here. And that's why I want to talk about this today, specifically. And especially because that's what we've been talking about all week, is just fear. Next week, we're going to take a clue from Clements. I think it's Clements, isn't it? Little hinges swing big doors, open big doors, swing open big doors. I think that's what we're going to be doing next week. Pretty sure. Talking about what those little hinges are and how little things can make such a huge difference. Because that truly is the way it works, isn't it? That is, and at least in my life, that's how it works for me. There's our girl, Corliss. I'm so glad you're here. All right, so a couple of things before we get started. The sprint, if you're part of Hot Melt 30, just keep Hot Melt 30ing. If you're not, the sprint starts this Monday. And we're excited about that because, the sprint is amazing. The sprint gives us, the tools to get rid of inflammation and to really jumpstart a good, healthy eating plan. It can be a little frightening too, to be perfectly honest, to completely change the way you're eating and to embrace this type of lifestyle. But once you get there, the gold is on the other side of that rainbow, I promise you. And it's really amazing what happens. There's Marianne. So I'm excited about the sprint, because whether you're sprinting, doing your hot melt 30ing, or you're doing the hot melt sprint, next week it's game on for everyone, every single one. So we're all going to step up, we're all going to do our part, and we're all going to stay accountable. Pinkies up, right? That's how it works. Hey, Juanita, I'm glad you're here. We also have our supplement of the week. This is coming to a close. Now, this is a screaming deal. Hi, Jamie. A screaming deal, beauty support. This is our most purchased supplement that we have. We order gobs of it. We can hardly keep it in the shop. And I want to let you know that this special that we have is coming to an end tomorrow. On Monday, you're going to see something completely different. So do not miss it. If you buy 3, we'll throw the 4th one in your cart absolutely free. You like that? So go to savingdinner.com/show and learn about beauty support. This is the one you want to stock up on because it helps you to develop your own collagen. We lose our ability to do that as we get older. And by the way, unfortunately, 97% of us have a deficit in it. And this is not only is it a beauty protein because it makes our skin lovely, it's also a structural protein. It's absolutely imperative for your bones. You have more collagen in your bones than calcium. We got to look at all the things and circle the wagons, man. That's my thing of the day. Circle the wagons, circle the wagons, circle the wagons with the dog, circle the wagons with your work, circle the wagons with your exercise. I've got everything circled and ready to go. That's how I'm working my day today. Hi, Lisa. I'm so glad you're here. You can also, you can see right there, get all the newest and latest information on our Full Bloom event, which is happening in September right here in Brevard, North Carolina. You fly into Asheville, 17 miles away, and we are going to be having quite the time. I can't wait. It's totally on. I mean, unless they all of a sudden say, yeah, hey, we're in pandemic mode again, and we're going to shut the country down. No, we're just going full steam ahead. So, do it, right? So find out about this at savingdinner.com/bloom. There, we're going to ask you for your email address. You know why? So we can give you the early bird pricing. And this is going to be a short window. And I'm just letting you know now, it's a short window. So you're going to want to be on the list to make sure you don't miss out. Because, we always have people come back and say, whoa, shoot, I missed it. I didn't open my email or whatever. And I have to say to you that this is the one time I'm going to be a real stickler about it, okay? A real stickler. I'm usually a push, just give it. Let's just be sweet and kind and what have you. But we really have to do this because what we're doing for this early bird is it's not even a good price for us per se. It's not. It's just going to be barely break even for us. So, but we're doing it because we want to start getting a good head count. And if you really want to get in on this, this is what you need to do. Okay. Pinkies up on that. You want to come? You want to be a part of this? I want to hug you. So come on down. savingdinner.com/bloom to go get started. That's what you need to do. Okay. Q&A is always Friday. You know that. Don't forget. Yes. Tanya says, Leanne, before you said it, take one beauty support when you break your fast and take one later in the day. Is that with your evening meal or when you're going to bed? I've done it both ways, but I would say, Tanya, the best way would be with the evening meal. Supplements do love a little food to ride on. Think about it that way because they are, supplements are indeed supplemental nutrition, if you will, in a concentrated form. And so when they're, riding on that food, it's even better. It's much better for you. And it's easier on your digestive system as well. That's how I do it. All right. So pinkies up to all of that. If you have a question, send it into support@savingdinner.com and question for Leanne on Friday, and it will get added to the stack. Okay. Hi, Cheryl. I'm glad you're here. So let's talk about all of this. Oh, and by the way, P.S. Anybody who wants to can watch the Thursday's webinar that we did. It's actually, I think it's imperative. If you have never sprinted or you need a refresher, this will take you through all the whys and why fors. I've got tons of information in there. Take notes. It's going to help you. Plus, you get the guide. The guide is right there, and you can download it from there. savingdinner.com/sprint to go get it. Just letting you know, there's a lot of information there. It makes it that much easier, doesn't it? I think. So this week, we have been talking about fear. And, I was thinking about how fear just lives inside of us and takes up residence. And sometimes it feels like it takes up a lot of space, doesn't it? It is so, I don't know what dinner.com hub is. Ignore that. I don't know what that is, but we don't have that. But we are savingdinner.com/hub, not dinner hub. So yeah, don't look at that one comment that's on YouTube. But let's get back to this whole thing about fear. Fear is the thing. Can we all agree on this, that fear is the thing that holds us back? Can we all agree and understand that we all some of us at least have a lot of fear. We do in various and sundry ways. Let's just agree on this, that none of us is, impenetrable. None of us has the ability to say, I'm going to live a fearless life, period. It doesn't work that way because fear creeps in. It creeps in for a variety of different reasons. And we've covered that a lot this week. Fear is the thing, though. It's the obstacle. It's holding us back from the vibrant life that we want to live. That's just the truth. That's the foundational principle there. How it got there and all the other kind of stuff. That's a lot of unpacking. That's a lot of things to look at. But that's the thing that we need to know, is that that's what fear is. And the remedy to this, of course, is courage and knowledge applied. Not having a head full of knowledge and not applying it leads us to what? Arrogance. Yeah. Have you seen that before? A lot of people, lots of talk, none of the walk. There's tons of folks out there like that. And it's very disingenuous. It's inauthentic. And it has, a very hollow ring to it. We know these people. We can point them out, right? We have an instinct that says, not feeling it. I don't see the alignment here. And this is important because when we understand that courage and knowledge applied is the key to open the new door to a life of less fear, then we know we're on the right track. But we have to, the courage is going to give us the ability to do. The courage is going to give us the ability to start digging out and getting some knowledge and some understanding and then applying it. And that's a big, huge deal. And that's something that has to definitely, this is what I've written about in my journal. This is every single time that I've had to get beyond something. Pretty much it was fear-based. Pretty much it was, worried about X, Y, and Z. But the thing that has always gotten me forward from that is taking courage and actually doing something and applying the knowledge that I either have or I've sought out and it obtained. And that has made all the difference in the world. But if we want to choose it, then we got to make a decision about it, right? We do. Leisha's right. Knowledge applied equals wisdom. If we want it, we've got to make a decision about it. And I talked about this so many times, and it's from this book called, what is it called? The Power of Decision. And I can't see The Power of Decision. It's an old book, an old personal development book, I think written in the 60s. And what he says in that book is that if you understand that every choice you make is a decision that you're making for your life, you'll start seeing your choices just a little bit different. For me, that was a massive cosmic 2x4 because it brought me to the place of understanding that just saying, well, just this once is basically saying, like, with eating disorders, disordered eating and food addictions and whatever, is basically saying, I am making a choice that is counter to the life that I want to lead. I'm making a decision against the life that I want to lead. That's when we start drilling it down and putting it into context of what's going on in our lives. Truly, that's truly what's happening. So here's the thing. The other thing that came up to me when I meditate about, when I start these, I do this every morning and I have my journal time. I have my morning ritual like I always do. And I meditate about this. And the thing that came up to me is we can unlearn anything. It's true. We can unlearn anything. When we figure out that an old choice or an old experience or something that happened in our past has made us fear-ridden, we can make a decision then to unlearn that. In other words, stepping away from it, saying, this doesn't serve anymore. This needs to go. Or when I was 4, this was appropriate. Now that I'm a grown woman, it is not. And let me take the experience from that. That's the experience file, and everything else must go. We'll unload more of that as we go. But the quote of the week, which we start with on Saturdays, is this, and write this down. And I didn't write it down. I'll have it for you on Monday, and you'll see it in the comments here. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear. Something else is more important than fear. This is Ambrose Redmoon, who actually that was a pseudonym for a writer. He just died last year. Kind of a hippy dippy kind of a guy, screenwriter, done a bunch of different things. He was kind of an interesting character. But how true is this? How true is this? Because to me, this is the cosmic 2x4 right there. Because it says no longer are we going to shrink down. No longer are we going to shrink down. Instead, instead of getting small in the face of fear, we need to rise up in the face of fear. Instead of saying, we let it trigger us for something positive instead of triggering us into something less than. You know what I'm talking about. So here we go. So what I wrote down here is we recognize it instead as a reminder. When fear raises its head up in your life, you recognize him as a reminder. Like a mindful mug is a reminder to be mindful in your eating, right? So here's what I wrote. I guess first thing in the morning, I get a little funny, shall we say. Hey, Leanne, it's me, Fear. This is your reminder that I'm nothing. Now, remember, this is Fear's conversation. Fear is saying that about himself. He's not saying I am. This is your reminder that I'm nothing. And you need to rise up because, there's something for you that is way more important than my old dog and pony show. I put this together for myself. It's in my journal. I put this together for myself to remind myself that when fear comes a knocking, it doesn't mean I have to answer the door. When fear raises up, it can also be, oh, you know what? Oh, I hear that knock on my door. That's a reminder. That's a reminder that I don't have to be all about what fear wants me to be about. Fear, if fear had its way, would take you, shrink you down, make you fit, and push you aside, and make you not get out your tools, not build that bridge to vibrancy, not get, that bridge made between the gap from here to there, where you want to go, the mission that you want to have in your life, the purpose that you want to fulfill. You can't do that if you're riddled with fear. Fear is going to always hold you back. So the same way that we use our other success tools, and by the way, all of our success tools you will find at savingdinner.com/tools, because they are tools, are all built on the psychology of triggering you into a positive movement toward your goal. So one of the biggest things that we have, one of the fear factors that we have, it's all here in your head. It's all here in your head. You're telling yourself, you're not good enough for that. Don't ask for help. That everybody's going to think that you're weak and you can't do it. Don't do this, don't do that. And it's all fear-based, isn't it? But instead, if we allow it to trigger us the same way we allow a mindful mug, as we sit down with a little bone broth in it and we're looking at this mug saying, I am incredible, I'm amazing, and we're holding it in the back, mindful mug, pinkies up, we're holding it and we're getting ready for a meal. And what is this telling you? It's saying, you are so much more worth the French fries that the rest of the family is eating. You are worth way more than that inflammation on the plate, that the pizzas that the kids are eating. Get ready to go eat a meal that's mindful. Target trifecta. You got your protein, you got your fat, you've got your green fiber, you've got all of it sitting right there. And it reminds you to step into your higher self. It reminds you that you can do this. It reminds you of who you are. Yep, there it is. That's what a mindful mug does. That's how powerful these tools are. And same thing with a quote, when we're looking at quotes all day long, when we're seeing things that are counter to what's going on in our head, that's when we can start to trigger, chisel away at the fear. It takes like 30 times of seeing something or reading something positive to dispense with the old stuff. But you know how we do this? We give oxygen to the thing that we want. That's why we have the quote decks. And again, savingdinner.com for tools. slash tools. That's it. Yeah, Betsy said it. What you think about, you become. Think good thoughts. It's exactly right. So it comes like this. You've seen them. And here's mine. One of the biggest moments in life is when you let go of things you cannot change. Now, you want to know why I have this here? Because I have a fear sometimes of not being liked. I'm human, right? Well, maybe they don't like me. Maybe maybe she doesn't want to be my friend. Maybe this and that and the other thing. There's a lot of things I can't change. And one thing that I cannot change is if somebody makes a decision that they no longer want to be my friend, or they no longer want to be in my circle, and we lose someone here, or whatever it is, it's going to happen. It's just the way it is. And to people please until the end. I like you too, Jen. Thank you so much. To people please until the end of the earth is to take out the vibrancy of what you could possibly have, to stop the tap dancing in front of all the people, to say, da, 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 here I am. I'm trying to please you. I'm trying to do all the things. I like you too, Diane. I love you guys, by the way. I love you. But this, 100% of the people you meet all of the time are not going to 100% love you all the time or like you all the time. For me, this is a good reminder, and it's okay. I need to let go of that, because when you hold on to wanting everybody to love you, then you're holding on to people pleasing out of fear. Out of fear. We can't do that. We have to start looking at, this doesn't work for me anymore. Fear of missing out, big time. I mean, that is a thing. It's not just FOMO, whatever, but it's a thing. Like, if I don't eat this pizza with the family, I'm going to miss out. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're just simply not going to have pizza. You're going to still be with the family. Your husband's not going to divorce you, and your kids aren't going to say, hey, that's it, Mom, I'm done with you. That's the weirdness that we get into, and that's what fear does. It blows up things and takes this trivial little thing and makes it a big deal. That's what fear does. Fear's really good at it, by the way. This is why we have the kitchen's closed, to remind ourselves that we're closing down the kitchen so we don't go into snack mode after dinner, and we start to create a new habit. Now, fear is the same thing. Fear responds to outward stimulus, just like we do our quote decks, just like we do our mindful mugs, just like we close the kitchen. That's how it works. And we can do that when we make a decision to do that. This fear thing isn't working for me anymore. And recognizing and calling it out for what it is. Remember point and call? We talked about that a while ago. And point and call is what people do with a jet plane. This is their checklist, and that's how they became a lot more safe than they were. They point and call, and they say, this, that, and the other thing. The speedometer, I don't know, whatever the instrument panel is on the. They point and they call yes and check, yes and check, yes and check, because it makes things more accurate. So we can point and call out fear and say, that's enough of that. That doesn't, I get what this is trying to do, but I'm not going to bite. I've made a different decision. When we make different decisions, then our actions have to follow, don't they? Otherwise, we're into this push me, pull you situation, and there's a lot of mental fatigue going on. Make a decision 100% for yourself by saying, okay, this is it with fear. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, I've got that for you too. I do. I've got some good stuff written out for you. Number one is that you breathe into the moment. Doesn't that sound so woo-woo? It pretty much is, because it came from Deepak Chopra. But his whole point is that when we're doing breath work, which he calls breath work, we're going inhaling in and exhaling out. We breathe in, and that's stimulating the sympathetic nervous system. It's also our fight or flight. This is why when we're holding our breath like this and we don't, and like with your exercising and your instructor's going, don't forget to breathe, they're meaning breathe out. Because when you breathe out, that's when you stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. And that exhalation, you know what that does? It calms you and it relaxes you. Isn't that interesting? So our breath work is so important. That's why we use breath work and meditation. That's why we take it in and take it out. And if I ever have a place where I can't sleep, by the way, side note, by the way, what I will do is I will do a count of breath in of 8 and hold it to the count of 4, and then exhale it all through my nose, because that really helps. And to get, and I say I'm going to do this 8 times. If I find my head starting to go crazy, I never get through to 8. I fall asleep. So this is how incredible breath work is. So start and breathe into the moment. Your breath can be a tool for helping you to control fear, something that you have with you all the time. Isn't that awesome? I love that. Number 2 is you got to notice it. You do. You can't just say, walk around and say, "Ooh, I don't know what's up here." You have to call it out. That's the point and call here. Call out the fear. Hey, fear. Hey, you know what? This is what I know what it is. You're afraid to ask for help. And you know what you do? You know what the antidote to that is? The remedy? You do it anyway. And when you do it anyway, guess what the amygdala does? Good for you. Here's some dopamine. And the dopamine makes you feel good. And then you've taken that risk, you've overcome it, and you shrunk down the amygdala. You put your amygdala in its place. You didn't let the amygdala run the show, because that's the fear center of your whole body, right there in your head. And it's one of the most primitive parts of your brains, right? It doesn't think thoroughly through like your prefrontal cortex does. That's the place where we disseminate information and we weigh and judge, and this is what the big thinking stuff goes on, but not the amygdala. The amygdala is like, "Don't do it. Oh my gosh, I'm so fearful." We don't have to be like that. We just have to put the amygdala in its place. So when we do that, we notice it, we feel it, we call it out, and then we say, "You know what? I'm still going to ask for help." And you get up there and you write it out. And we've had a couple of people do that lately in the Hot Melt Sprint group, getting over the fear of asking for help. And as we do that, we get bigger and stronger, and we stop shrinking down and trying to fit and be quiet and hope that nobody notices. It's okay to be noticed. It's okay to say, "I need help." It's okay to put yourself out there. And what you'll find too is it's really safe to do so in this type of an environment. It's a very private place, and there's a lot of incredible women who are just waiting to help out. So practice asking for help, because that will help you in real life too as you go out. Number 3 is reframe it. Ask yourself these questions, because I think these are really interesting. Is a gigantic animal going to eat me if I don't do this? Is this what going to happen? A gigantic animal, is it going to take me out? Is it going to chew my heart out of my chest or whatever? Is that what's going to happen? Am I in danger? Ask the question, what are you trying to show me, fear? What do I need to learn here? What's here? When we address it, when we face it instead of run from it, instead of do all the things to try to pretend everything is okay, it's bizarre how the solutions start to show themselves. And here's the other thing you can ask. What if you choose to ignore fears, "Oh, look at me," kind of a thing, What are you going to lose here? Probably nothing. And as a matter of fact, again, you get the reward when the amygdala says, "Okay, you win. Here's some dopamine. On with your show." Emily says, "Oh my God, I went through this exactly what you're talking about this morning. I found yoga for anxiety with spa music to get me off the carousel of crazy." That's so good. That's so good, Emily. I love that, because the carousel of crazy, while we talk about it with weight control and weight loss and all of that, of just gaining and losing, keep doing it, keep looking for a new guru, keep whatever. I mean, that certainly is the case, right, with weight loss, but it's also the case in life, because we all have some kind of other carousel of crazy where we just keep doing the same stupid stuff that we don't want to do anymore. We realize it and recognize it when they say, "But I don't know how." Sure you do. Confront it. Reframe it. Take a look at it. What is it? What is this all about? Ask the right questions. Instead of retreating, ask questions. It makes a big difference. So yeah, like I said, you notice it, you feel it. Does it serve you? Is it old stuff? Is it just something that you had when you were 4? I took my abandonment issues at 4 years old all the way through adulthood into my 50s. And it was then that I started to recognize, and I remember exactly where I was standing. I remember exactly the words that I said when I said to Mark, I don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to deflect my abandonment issues onto you. I don't need to carry these around like they're cherished memories. I don't. And I apologized to him. I let it go. It wasn't him. He just happened to be a man, and that's who I happen to have abandonment issues with. And so I threw it all on him, and that's not right, is it? But that was a moment, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. And I made a decision at that point not to do this anymore. Does that mean it went away and it was done presto changeo like that? No, but it brought awareness to it. It brought a different action to it. And I made a decision that that was going to change, because otherwise this issue, as big as I had allowed it to grow, was going to be that shadow in my life forever until I made a different decision. So that's what I did. I'm not 100% there yet, by the way. Maybe 5 years later, not 100% there. But you know what? So much better. And that's all we can do. So much better. And when it comes up, I'm like, I got you, fear. I know who you are. I know what you're about. I recognize you. Boy, do I recognize you. You've been around for a long time. Let's get rid of you. Number 3 is you got to reframe it. Oh, we already said that. Reframe it. Number 4 is I think this is important, because very often we have a gut instinct or our intuition or whatever. But, our intuition is not fear. Very rarely, very rarely. And we can't use it like that. We need to look at our intuition and look at our higher level self of knowing and seeking. That's what our beautiful selves do. This is the part of us that's, unfortunately for a lot of us, are just undeveloped because we haven't paid attention much. But we can develop our intuition to understand and to know and to kind of dial in, like, I'm sensing, is there something here? Do we have something that we need to talk about, or whatever it is? But, we need to be understanding that, well, you can't say, oh, well, my intuition told me that's something I shouldn't do. It really, is it just an excuse? So when you think about that, think about the times when your intuition has said, don't do this, or stay out of that, or don't allow this for your kids, or whatever. That's a little bit different. But when you're doing it to excuse yourself of good behavior, of a better behavior, of an up-leveled kind of a life, that's a little different. So keep that in mind. And number 5, do something to stand up to fear. This is true. I mean, we all have to do that. When we need to ask for help, instead of saying, oh, I have a fear of asking for help, guess what? Ask for help. That's the remedy. The remedy is doing it anyway. And the reward, of course, is there. And this is something that I think a lot of us are held back from because of fear of just doing it. And I just say, you know what? Rip the Band-Aid off. It's really time to toughen up a little bit. It's time to allow these things to heal. Fear doesn't have to run our life. Fear is there for a reason, and it started way back when large animals were going to eat us alive. But that's not what's happening right now. A lot of us have fears that are based on old information, old experiences, old stuff that no longer serves us. And that's when we get to, by the way, extrapolate the lesson from that fear and keep that, because that's the teacher for the future, not rehashing and reliving old stuff that doesn't serve. Abandonment issues, fear of whatever, we all have them. We all have them. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's part of the human equation. It is. But in order to move forward, in order to be on that path of vibrancy, you know what it requires? not hanging out with fear, not letting fear be your buddy. Fear doesn't have to. We don't coddle and take our fear and protect it, you know? Instead, we say, you know what? It's time for you to just take a seat, and I'm going to step into this. Einstein said this: you cannot solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them in the first place, right? So in other words, you cannot conquer fear from a place of fear. You just can't. You have to move forward. You have to put fear in its place, and you have to see it for how small it really is. The only reason that we think it's bigger than it is because of our great imaginations, is because of the darkness that we let it live and proliferate in. Shine the light on it. Call it out. Tell them to take a seat. Do it anyway. Vibrancy exists on the path of construction by taking action, right? That's it. You take action against fear. Fear has no other recourse than to take a seat. Vibrancy doesn't coexist with fear either. And you know this. It's extinguished by fear. Extinguished. You can't have fear and vibrancy living in the same path. You got to weed it out. You got to get rid of it. So, you know what to do with it, right? Are you ready to go out and slay the day? I bet you are. Anybody got some pinkies for me? I sure hope so, because this was Soulful Saturday, and I sure enjoyed it. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Vanessa. I'm glad this helped. I'm glad this was helpful for you. If there's anything that I can do to help you with this, you know, you can always reach out to me. I'm always listening. Send emails into support@savingdinner.com. And if you have a confidential question, just put confidential for Leanne. I will answer it. I'm here to support you any way I can. That's just the way we roll. Thank you again for being here. And if this meant anything to you and you think you've got a friend that it might help, you know, go ahead and forward that and share it if you want to. I always appreciate that. And I know that as we build our little kingdom here, that the people that are meant to be here will be coming in. It's going to be fun. I will see you on Monday for Motivational Monday. Don't forget, beauty support, that special buy 3, get 1 free, coming to an end. Take advantage of it today. You don't want to be in the place on Monday saying, oh, I forgot. savingdinner.com/show to get this great supplement deal. And on Monday, we'll be talking about some little hinges swinging some great big doors. What do you think? Good idea? Hope so. Peace be with you. I'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. You can find us on YouTube on the Saving Dinner channel or on the Saving Dinner Facebook page. Check back daily for new episodes, Monday to Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you missed the live show, you can watch the replay. Until next time, pinkies up.